Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is, of course, um, today is Wednesday, August the 27th, 2025. So, of course, that means it's Hump Day. So hopefully, everybody's having a good week thus far. Trying to get over the hump here. Going to give people a chance to come in before we get started. For those of you who may already be here, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, let's just waiting around a couple minutes here. Um, so let me see. Yeah, so today I was playing more or less playing like Pokemon Yellow. When you get caught up in games and stuff like that, lose track of time and kind of can throw your whole day off, as it were. But anyways, all right, look like we have three people here now, so why don't I go ahead and talk about what's on? So for tonight, I'm gonna do a couple articles from MeTV Tunes. Um, some of their recent announcements. First off, David Mook, writer of the Scooby Doo theme song, helped discover Randy Newman. So I guess that's going to be interesting. Also, now here's a story that's kind of been out there for years. Jackie Gleason nearly sued Hanna-Barbera over the Flintstones, claiming, obviously claiming copyright infringement. So we're going to go over those two stories. Then we're also going to, of course, do the wrestling wrap up. We're going to take a look back to last night's NXT, WWE NXT. Look ahead to tonight's AEW. Get caught up on other news, of course. And then also wrap things up with this day in each history. So again, before I get started here, one last reminder, of course, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started here then. All right. Alrighty then, so there we go. Alright, so let's take a look at all this. David Mook, writer of the Scooby Doo theme song, helped discover Randy Newman. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby Dooby Doo, you've got a friend in me. Article posted August 25th, which is this past Monday, by MeTV Doom staff. All right, so let's see what's going on here. In an interview with Noble Mania, Rosemarie Mook discussed her late husband David Mook and his career and legacy as co-writer of the classic theme song to Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? While reminiscing about how their children enjoyed their father's connection to the theme song, Mrs. Mook dropped a surprising bombshell. Her husband discovered Randy Newman. I believe he was the 80s artist who gave us the song Cars, I believe, among others. David Mook began as a songwriter in New York, and after his initial success with Hanna-Barbera, moved his family out to California and started his own music company. The Scooby-Doo theme song boosted Mook's career as a songwriter and an independent music producer, allowing him to submit music to all the studios in addition to Scooby-Doo. Or in addition to Scooby-Doo, he also wrote the theme songs for shows like the Banana Splits Adventure Hour and the Dating Game. That might be a bit of a miss. I don't know if they meant to actually write in there the dating game, but Mook was making a name for himself in the industry, but he was still new to California and needed a doctor. Colleagues recommended Dr. Newman, so Mook went to see him, and during his appointment told the doctor about his work. Dr. Newman mentioned his son Randy and said, quote, "My boy is a genius. Has been composing since he was 4 years old. If you don't mind, we'd love you to listen to his tapes." Unquote. Dr. Newman gave David Mook the tapes, and Mook loved Randy Newman's music. Randy Newman was still a student at UCLA at this time, but Mook signed him as an in-house songwriter and sent his music out to bands like the Beatles. Um, Under Mook's guidance, Randy Newman launched into stardom, and like Mook, ended up writing iconic songs for cartoons like Toy Story and Monsters Inc. If you think about it, we likely wouldn't have nostalgic hits like You've Got a Friend in Me without the Scooby-Doo Where Are You theme song. Look at that. Finding connections where you wouldn't find them, huh? Or where you wouldn't think to find them. Interesting. And again, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly, people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Anyways, as we of course continue on here, getting ready to move on to the next article here. Jackie Gleason nearly sued Hanna-Barbera over the Flintstones. The similarities weren't just a coincidence. Article published earlier today by MeTV2 staff. On the left there, I guess that's Jackie Gleason. On the right is Fred Flintstone. Now, this is a story that's kind of been out there for years. It's been talked about a lot, where there's some people who said that maybe Hanna-Barbera may have ripped off some ideas from the Honeymooners. The Flintstones is one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, animated or otherwise. Take a peek under the hood, and you'll realize that it shares many of its parts with an earlier TV great, too. It's no great secret that the Flintstones took many of its cues from the Honeymooners. Just look at the show's structures. A working class man beleaguered by a relatable life at home with a buffoon next door neighbor who's the closest thing he's got to a best friend. Even Fred's vocal pattern evokes mentions of Ralph Cramden. Wilma! Alice! Boom! To the moon! Pow! One of these days, Alice, pow! Straight to the moon. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. Have a yabba dabba do time. From the town of Bedrock. Of course, early on there in 1960. Of course, Alan Reed providing the voice of Fred. Wilma's voice being provided by the late great Gene Vanderpeel. Mel Blanc doing Barney Rubble, and early on, I believe it was Bea Benaderet for I think like the first 3.5, 4 years before she moved on to Green Acres and was replaced, I believe, by Ginny Johnson. So, anyways, but here's a little known piece of showbiz lore that might surprise you. According to online Flintstones resource webrock.com, Jackie Gleason had every intention to take legal action regarding the show's similarities. Henry Corden, a voice of Fred. Now Henry Corden took over the voice of Fred Flintstone after Alan Reed's passing in 1977. Alan Reed, of course, voiced Fred throughout the initial TV series back in the 60s to 66 series. He continued to provide the voice in some of the early 70s adaptations like Pebbles and Bam Bam. Henry Corden took over, I believe it was 1977, just prior to them starting up the new Fred and Barney show, the Flintstone Funnies, all that. And one of Gleason's closest friends said that the Great One wanted to pursue a lawsuit. Quote, Jackie's lawyers told him he could probably have the Flintstones pulled right off the air, but they also told him, in smaller quotes, do you want to be known as the guy who yanked Fred Flintstone off the air? The guy who took away a show that so many kids love and so many parents love too. Unquote. And apparently Jackie thought it over and decided against it. So how similar were the shows? Was The Honeymooners intentionally a part of its cartoon relative's conception? Yeah. Well, I think the thing was, Jackie Gleason was thinking possible copyright infringement when that all came down. Quote, at that time, The Honeymooners was the most popular show on the air, and for my bill, it was the funniest show on the air, unquote, said Flintstones creator Bill Hanna. Quote, the characters I thought were terrific. Now that influenced greatly what we did with the Flintstones. The Honeymooners was there, and we used that as a kind of basis for the concept, unquote. Hanna's creative partner, Joseph Barbera, had his 2 cents to add to the conversation. Quote, I don't remember mentioning the Honeymooners when I sold the show, but if people want to compare the Flintstones to the Honeymooners, then great. It's a total compliment. The Honeymooners was one of the greatest shows ever written, unquote. So they pretty much said that even though there was influence there, I don't think they were going out of their way per se to just outright copy the show. Anyway, so let's see where are we at on time here? 14. All right. Oh, I was trying to see if I could. All right. So, anyways, that's all I got for the news side of things tonight. And again, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Goes for my Rumble viewers too. And if anything we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that, let's see. Just trying to think here. So does anybody have any like favorite Flintstone or Scooby Doo memory? Well, I think part of the reason was some of the Flintstone coverage, of course. MeTV Tunes did just announce the other day that this coming Sunday they'll be doing an all-day marathon of Flintstones episodes. Um, you know, um, in honor of their 65 years of existence. The I guess the tagline is the Flintstones are getting on Social Security. So 65 years and rocking. So anyways, again, if you guys have any memories of either Scooby-Doo or the Flintstones you want to share, feel free to do so. Of course, let's see. I think, as I recall, I think of the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You cast, the only ones who I think are still actually a lot with us are Frank Walker, of course, provided the voice of Scooby-Doo, and albeit she's no longer part of, an active part, I believe, of the franchise. The original voice of Daphne, Stephania Christopherson, is, I think, still with us. Of course, we know Don Messick died back in, I believe it was 1997 or 8, I believe. Let's see. Casey Kasem died a few years ago. As I read more recently, Nicole Jaffe, I think, passed away back in 2014 or 2015. And then Noelle North, I think, just more recently. Noelle North, I believe, was the girl who took over the voice of Daphne from Stephania. So, and then, of course, with the Flintstones, I think all the members of the original cast members are no longer with us. I think the only two people right now who I think are still with us from, well, let's see. I think obviously some of the cast from Pebbles and Bam Bam are still with us. Sally Struthers, I think, is still with us. Jerry Hauser, who provided the voice of Bam Bam, is still with us. Mitzi McCall, I believe, is still, who provided the voice of some of Bam Bam, Pebbles and Bam Bam's, friends. So, anyways, yeah. So of course you can catch. Let's see. You can catch. Let me just remind myself here. You can catch the Flintstones every day on MeTV Tunes, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central, and 4:30 Pacific. And then, in regards to Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? I read these off as well. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Watch Scooby-Doo on MeTV Tunes weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Of course, 1 p.m. Pacific and 7 a.m. Pacific, respectively. So, anyways, I do need to step away from the computer for a quick moment. I'll be right back. But what I will do is I'll put some music on for you guys. And then when I come back, we'll probably get into the wrestling wrap. right, I'm back. So let's see. Let's see if there's been any comments. No comments, at least here. Let's see, any comments from Rumble? Nope. All right. And nothing there either. All right. So, anyways, now we're gonna. Of course, I'm gonna just move right into the wrestling wrap up here. Just you know. The only real update on the Raj Jackson situation that came out today is that Rampage Jackson did actually, I guess, make a statement asking people to forgive his son for what he did. He admitted that he hopes to someday be able to shake Psycho Stu's hand, meet him and shake his hand and all that. So apparently between those two, anyways, there's no real issues. So but anyways, let's go ahead and talk about what went down on last night's NXT. Now, of course, this episode of NXT is coming out of the Heatwave Premium Live event that happened on this past Sunday. We talked about all that yesterday. So, let's see. The opening match saw Kalani Jordan defeat Blake Monroe as Jordan Grace came out and chased Blake Monroe around the ring, basically even reminding her at one point, "Hey, you got a match. Get back in the ring." Which, of course, this timely distraction gave Kalani Jordan the chance to come in and defeat Blake Monroe in just over 4 minutes. WWE decided to bring back the blindfold match. Some of you might remember, and some of you older folks like myself may remember back in, I think it was 90 or 91, I believe, when Jake Roberts and Rick Martel had their blindfold match. That match was, of course, panned. But here in NXT, they decided to bring it back and have former Heritage Cup champion Lexis King take on Miles Bourne, in which Lexis King defeated Miles Bourne in the match. In women's tag team action, the Collings, Izzy Dame, and Tatum Paxley, with Nico Vance and Sean Spears in their corner, defeated the returning Kendall Gray to NXT TV, and Ren Sinclair of course, formerly the No Quarter Catcher. Now it's just down to her and Charlie Dempsey, I guess. And the match set up earlier in the night. A number one contendership match set up for the NXT title. Ricky Saints defeated Josh Briggs to become the next challenger to Obafemi's NXT title. After the match, of course, Obafemi came out to basically confront, address, confront, whatever you want to call Ricky Saints, only for Dark State to try to come in and spoil the situation. Only for Dark State, who won the NXT tag titles over the weekend, only for the former champs, Hank and Tank Ledger and Hank Walker, to come out and help stave off the attack from them. In a women's match, Tyra May Steele, Tavian Heights in her corner, defeated Alba Fire of Secret Harvest, who had, of course, Ethan Page, Chelsea Green, and Pyro Niven as the feud, as kind of this feud over the North American title between Tavian Heights and Ethan Page continues to flourish. And the main event of the evening, number one women NXT Women's Champion Lola Vice teamed with Women's North American and Speed Champion Sol Ruca and Zarya to take on Fatal Influence of NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne, Fallon Henley, the former North American Champion, and Jasmine Nix, in which Ruca, Vice, and Zarya defeated Fatal Influence. So so with that now, let's go ahead and get ready to take a look ahead to tonight's let's take a look ahead to tonight's Dynamite, as of course AEW is coming off of their show in England, London, England, Forbidden Door. So some of the fallout from that, coming from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Matches scheduled for tonight include the in a match the AEW World Trios title, the Ops of Powerhouse Hobbs, Samoa Joe, and Katsuyori Shibata, taking on Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona. Jon Moxley of the Death Riders will be taking on Daniel Garcia in a one-on-one match with Marina Shafir in her corner. In women's tag team match, Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford tag up to team up against Harley Cameron and former TBS champion Chris Statlander. In an 8-man tag match, the newly crowned AEW World Tag Team Champions, Brodito of Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito and Brody King, teaming up with Jet Speed, Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Jet Kevin Knight, take on the Don Callis family in anyways, Don Callis family with Josh Alexander, Hechicero, current AEW Unified Champion Kazuchika Okada, and former AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita, and also the current winner, the most recent winner of the G1 Climax over in New Japan. In the main event, in a Falls Count Anywhere match, we'll see Death Riders Claudio Castagnoli taking on Darby Allin, coming off of their brutal lights out steel cage match. Of course, it was also reported, as we talked about the other day, that of course Will Ospreay has been written off TV for the time being, so he go get his neck surgery done. Had a whole angle where he was being basically carried out on a stretcher this past Sunday at Forbidden Door. So, hoping for a fast and full recovery there. All right, so let's see now. So let's see, where are we at on time here? 31 minutes, huh? Well, I was kind of aiming for early. All right, so with that being said, so that's all I got for the wrestling wrap up. So what we're going to go ahead and do now, we're going to actually move right into the this day in each history. I hope everybody's again, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. So today being Wednesday, August the 27th, 2025, let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history. So 50 in 2020. All right. So first off, I'd like to actually wish a happy 50th birthday. I'd like to wish a happy 50th birthday to comedian. Well, we'll read it here. So I'm sorry, not a happy 75th birthday. I'd like to wish a happy 75th birthday to American comedian and actor Charles Fleischer. Charles Fleischer probably is most well known for, of course, providing the voice of Roger Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, in the Who Framed Roger Rabbit franchise, as well as Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. He also provided the voices of Benny the Cab, Greasy, and Psycho in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He was Dweeb in We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. Boris and Balto 2, Elbows and Rongo, and the Elf General in Polar Express. So happy 75th birthday to American comedian and actor Charles Fleischer. I need to step away from the computer again for a moment. I'll be right back, but I'll put some music on for you guys while I'm gone. All right, but actually, let me check one more thing here too, because I was trying to. I checked this earlier, but at least on his Wikipedia, I was kind of wondering if he was related by chance to the Fleischer brothers, but there seemed to be no indication here of that. Let me see if I can find one more source here. They have a link to his IMDb page. Charles Fleischer, right? So let's see. Just want to see if he's. I actually was looking, was trying to see if maybe he family. Nope. Rachel Fleischer, voice of Roger Rabbit, So I guess he's he's not related to the. I was kind of wondering when I saw the name. I was wondering if he was maybe related to the Fleischer brothers, as in Fleischer Studios, as in Popeye, but apparently that's not the case. So, anyways, let's see now. So, I'll go ahead and get ready to move on to the next piece of niche history here. And we find the cursor, of course. All right, so now getting ready to move on to the year 1985, 40 years ago today. On this date, 40 years ago today. On this, the first issue of Care Bears from Marvel's Star imprint went on sale on its date back in 1985, 40 years ago today. The first issue of Care Bears from Marvel's Star imprint went on sale in comic shops on this date back in 1985. It sold for 65 cents, 32 pages. The story was titled "The Plot to Steal Summer," as written and penciled by Howie Post, with Roberta Edelman doing the inking, lettering done by Grace Kramer, and Isabel Bidwell doing the coloring. Now it's kind of funny because I was even talking a little bit about this on Apex's stream yesterday when I went on for a few moments. The idea how cartoons and comics seem to have this connection between each other because they usually get adapted. Cartoons get adapted in the comics get adapted in the cartoons. This, that, and the next thing. So, anyway, so 40 years ago today, first issue of Care Bears from Marvel's Star imprint went on sale on this date back in 1985. And also, 1985 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date in 1985, so I pull it up here. So on this date in 1985, as the WWE, as what we know of today as the WWE, at the time the WWF, as their push towards national expansion was going on, some of their competitors, including the American Wrestling Association or AWA of Vern Gagne, Jim Crockett Promotions for the NWA, and of course Continental Wrestling Association down in Memphis with Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett, came together to bring us Pro Wrestling USA. So on this date back in 1985, 40 years ago, the Pro Wrestling USA program debuted on ESPN. It was as I said, a joint promotion between the AWA, between Vern Gagne's AWA, the NWA's Jim Crockett Promotions, and Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler's CWA. It debuted on ESPN. Within months, the show evolved into AWA Championship Wrestling after the Pro Wrestling USA alliance between the AWA and several NWA affiliates dissolved. Basically, it came down to some creative differences of where professional wrestling should go. That's what it came down to. So on this day, 40 years ago today, the premiere of Pro Wrestling USA on ESPN. So, now getting ready. So now we move ahead to the year 2020. On this date in the year 2020, which was, of course, 5 years ago. 5 years ago today. The second season of the ONA Gundam Build Divers regarding Rise concluded its seasons. So on this date, 5 years ago today, Sunrise Beyond's ONA or original net animation Gundam Build Drivers or Gundam Build Divers regarding Rise, second season, concluded on this date 5 years ago. So, all right. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here with more Niche News tomorrow. Also, this Sunday, I'll be joined by Rick Piper from Cross Comics, as we'll be taking another trip down Comics History Lane, as we'll be looking at comics that went on sale in June of 1940 from Fiction House. Actually, this week we'll be focusing in on Wings comic #1, so more or less mostly aviation stories. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. I know it's a little short tonight, but sometimes we go long, sometimes we go short. But with that, thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.